What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Health Over Everything podcast, the number one podcast in health and fitness. Today, we have a guest on Charter, aka Blue Collar Investments, on Twitter and on TikTok. How are you doing today, Charter?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming
Thanks
on.
for coming on.
So let's get into it. Like, how did we got have you on because you're like we see you on Twitter being a bodybuilder, or I don't know if you're a bodybuilder or you consider it
Strongman.
strongman. Okay, strongman.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
So I've always been interested in it. I grew up watching the sports, but it's just strongman is really popular on the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast in Alabama, and so I never really had an entry into it. And I lived in a town in Central Alabama, and a guy posted a Facebook ad for his gym. He later became my best friend, but he owned his own strongman gym. It's called the Forge, and it just so happened to be like 15 miles from my house. And so I responded to the Facebook ad and was just like, "Hey, dude, I'm really interested. Can I, schedule a time to come by and check out the gym?" And I went in, checked it out, and a week and a half later, I entered into my first strongman competition and actually won that competition.
Wow, nice.
Which gave me, it was bad. I wish I hadn't won it because it gave me a major false sense of confidence. And the next one I went into, I placed like ninth place and just got destroyed. But that was like 6 years ago, and so I've been competing for 6 years now. It's just I still, him and I live 3 hours away from each other, but I still manage to go down there and work out with him just because it's my home gym. So
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so what is the difference between a strongman and like a power lifter, body lifter, or something like that?
okay, so a power lifter, they're going to have three main lifts. You've got squat, bench, deadlift. With strongman, you've got five separate lifts for most competitions, every single competition, and you never know what the lifts are going to be. So you usually every competition, there's going to be some sort of a deadlift. There's going to be some sort of a movement, whether it's picking up a like a 250, 300-pound sandbag and then running 150 feet with it, or a keg, or maybe even like a yoke, which is like the big, basically you're picking up a squat rack on your back and running with it. And then you're going to have some type of a loading event, which would be like a keg or a stone to a 52-inch bar. And then some type of pressing event. Usually it's going to be a log or like a axle or something like that. So it changes from competition to competition. So it's kind of cool because I'll do like 12-week training blocks. I try and compete 3 or 4 times a year. So I'll do 12-week training blocks, and every 12 weeks, my training is completely different depending on what the competition is going to have for the lifts.
Wow.
Nice. Interesting. So what kind of lifts do you have to do to kind of prepare for the competitions?
So log press is pretty consistent. It's a log with handles on the inside of it, and you pick it up and you press it over your head. It's just a standard overhead press.
Okay.
Then deadlift is pretty much going to be in every single competition. So I am definitely more specialized in deadlift than I am squats. I still do squats because they're great, and you need to incorporate them into your workouts. But deadlifts are going to be what I focus on probably 75% of the year. And then a lot of movement stuff. So I just bought back there, a truck pull harness. So literally when my roads aren't covered in ice, I will go and grab one of my vehicles and take it outside, put it up on the road, and I'll have my wife in the truck just steering it, and I'm pulling the truck physically up and down the road. So
that's pretty strong.
It's fun. It's fun. I really enjoy it. That's truck pull is probably one of my favorites, because I am a little bit of a heavier individual, so I'm pretty decent at truck pull. But then other than that, like I've got a 300-pound sandbag sitting in my shed right now. If I can't do truck pull, I'll go and I'll pick up the sandbag and just pin it to my chest, and I'm just going to walk up and down my driveway with it.
So how like for the viewers, how tall are you and how much do you weigh, like, in order to get?
I am 6'2".
Okay.
I currently weigh 275. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of a bulk. I'm trying to get to 285 pounds. So the heaviest I've ever weighed was 300. I just don't have the frame to be that big. I was miserable when I was that heavy, but I generally compete at 231 pounds.
Okay.
So I'm in between competitions right now. I don't have my first competition until April. So my plan is by mid-February to late February to hit my 285-pound mark. I'm going to do my first competition in April as a heavyweight at that 285-pound range. But I also surf. And so my surfboard does not like it when I'm 285 pounds.
Yeah.
So during the summer, I really try to compete at 231 pounds because when I'll water cut from 250 pounds down to 231. And so at 250, 245 pounds, my surfboard likes that. And so I can actually stay on top of the waves.
Nice.
Wow,
Yeah.
surfing in Alabama, huh? I never even knew. Who would have thought?
So it's wake surfing. So my best friend,
Okay.
he's my neighbor. He has a wake surfing boat. So we just load his boat with the water bags,
Oh, okay.
and we've got a wake setter, and he sets the wave, and then we just surf. So yeah, we're surfing up and down the Tennessee River, making our own waves.
Awesome. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Cool. So with the, I wanted to ask you, what are some of your like your PRs for your big lifts?
So I my deadlift is 651 pounds.
Woo!
Yeah, so my goal this year is to hit 700 pounds. It is my deadlift is kind of plateaued for like the past 2 years. I haven't really been focusing on it as much as I need to.
Mhm.
I'm wanting to hit a 300-pound log press. So I have done a 280-pound. The 300-pound should come pretty quickly. My overhead press is really coming along. I've done a 540-pound squat wrapped. So I want to hit a 600-pound squat this year. And my bench press, I don't even know what my bench press is. Bench press is not in strongman. You never see it
All
at
right.
competitions. So I train bench press as an accessory to overhead press.
Okay.
I know I've done bench press like 365 pounds for reps for like 3 or 4 on like close grip.
Mhm.
But I just train bench press so infrequently. I don't really know what I'm capable of. But this year I do want to hit a 4-plate bench press. I want to hit that it'd be 405 is what I'm shooting for. So I want to hit that 405 bench press. I've never actually really pushed myself on bench press. So I'm kind of excited to see what I can do. But bench press is tough for me because I am 6'2", but
Mhm.
my arm span is 6'5". I've got just ridiculously long arms. So bench press is, I really have to work on bench press because I've just got so much real estate for the bar to travel.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's nice. Out of those lifts, do you have like a, or you already said, I know you said you do deadlifts a lot, but are those
Yeah.
your favorite, or do you only have to do those because of competing, or both?
No, so I really do love deadlifts. My favorite lift is probably stone lifts
Okay.
because I have such a ridiculous arm span. Even on the big stones, most of the time I can get my arms all the way around them and I can actually lock my fingers. So I have better like crushing grip for stone than a lot of the people at my weight class. So
All right.
that kind of gives me an unfair advantage on stones.
Nice. The stones one, that's the one where you pick up like the big stone and then you're like
Yeah.
heaving it up on
Oh,
top
Yeah.
of the platform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like my training partner, like I'm almost as good at stones on him. I've got a 650-pound deadlift. He has a 900-pound deadlift. Like the dude's
Jesus.
way stronger than me, but he's 5'7". And so his little
wow.
T-Rex arms, he can't quite get around the stones. So I'm almost as good at stones on him and I'm nowhere near as strong as him. So
So this
it's an
guy's
unfair
five foot
advantage.
seven, and
Yeah.
he does 900-pound deadlifts.
Yeah, the dude's a monster. Like pound for pound,
A little
he's probably the strongest person in Alabama.
Jesus.
He's pretty awesome. But I also live 10 miles up the road from Hannah Lindsay, who currently has the world record for weight over bar that she set at the Arnold's. So it's like,
Oh,
I
Nice.
don't know, Morgan County, Alabama is just, there's a lot of really strong dudes and women in this area. So like
Mhm.
her and her boyfriend are both, her boyfriend's, a bodybuilder, but he also does strongman. They're really into Highland Games right now. So like, if you need to learn how to throw stuff, you just drive 10 miles down the road from where I live and you've got literally the best woman in the world at throwing stuff just down the road from me. It's pretty cool.
Crazy. Yeah, I think I see on ESPN some of these strongmans before.
Yeah, you'll see if you go back and you look, you'll see Hannah. Her name's Hannah Lindsay. You'll see her on ESPN. She's a monster. She goes by Swampy Swamps, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. We actually all work at the same company. We all work for Nucor, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So your job just has a bunch of strongmen and women.
Yeah, they work at the Decatur location. I work in Birmingham,
Okay.
but like I went up there and like I was walking around. They were like, "Have you ever met Tommy and Hannah?" Because I mean, I look like I lift, and I was like, "Yeah, I've known." Like Tommy and I graduated high school from the same high school, and then Hannah and I have competed at competitions together. I was like, "Yeah, I know who they are." Well, okay, you look like you should work out with them. I was like, "I have before."
Yeah, if you look at like I seen you on Twitter, you talk a lot about finances and stuff like that, blue collar
Yeah,
working. But I like that first post that you posted of you doing like I forgot what it was, but some sort of weightlifting. And you're pretty
yeah,
big. So people are out there, he's pretty
yeah,
big. He's wearing a sweatshirt right now, but
yeah.
you got pretty good muscles there.
Yeah, I try. I like, like I said, I'm in the middle of this bulk right now, so I look a little fluffier than I, normally am. But
Okay.
it's fun. I just like it. When I got out of the military, when I was in the military, I was like into CrossFit, trying to
Uh,
stay lean and stuff. And so I mean, I was still in the military when I found Strongman, but I think the heaviest I was at when I was in the military was like 250, and running 2 miles for a really fast time when you're 250 pounds is kind of hard. So I
mhm.
really, really had to struggle at that. So when I got out of the military, I was like, okay, thank God I don't have to run fast anymore. That makes my life a lot easier.
I think everyone in the military hates the running part, just because
Dude,
it's not
yeah.
fun.
You know what? I'm just thankful I was in the army, because if you're in the Marines, you got to run like 3 miles. And I'm like, no,
Oh,
I don't,
shit.
I'm not about that life.
Have you always been on the bigger side, or was it kind of hard for you to put on the
No.
weight?
So bulking for me is really hard.
Okay.
I can decide that, like, I'm 275 pounds now. I could
Mhm.
probably get down to 250 pounds within 3 weeks to 4 weeks and
Jeez.
hold it. Bulking is just really hard for me. In 2013, I was like 195 pounds in Afghanistan and just like 8% body fat. That's just how I walked around. And it was very minimal effort. I really, really have to try to bulk. When I got to 300 pounds, that was like 9 months straight of me eating 6 to 7,000 calories a day.
Woo.
Dude, it was hard. Like my wife was like, I'm miserable just watching you eat.
You have to like force
So,
yourself to eat to get
dude,
those
it was
calories
terrible.
in.
Like every 2 hours, and I woke up every morning at 4:30 to get to work, because I work like at a plant. Most plants start at 6 a.m., so I had to be at work by 6 a.m. We live about 45 minutes away, so I'd wake up at 4:30 every morning, and I would be eating the overnight oats starting off. As soon as I like walked out the door, I'm eating overnight oats, and then as soon as I walked into the plant, I would eat my second meal, and then every 2 hours after that, it was just like steak and rice, or chicken and rice, and it was nonstop, because I didn't want to eat like crap. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat like a bunch of really clean calories, because it's really easy to get to 6, 7,000 calories if you're eating junk food, but that's
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
I want to put in my body, because that's not how you get stronger. So it was a lot of money, and it was a lot of food.
So you're not eating like just a bunch of cupcakes. Yeah. Yeah.
No, my diet predominantly consists of basmati rice and lean ground beef, or I will do shredded chicken. I'll just boil like chicken breasts and then shred them up and then season them. And I try and incorporate fish 2 to 3 times a week, just to
Yeah.
get the omega-3 fatty acids. And then every once in a while I'll throw in pork. It's good for like fat content. So if your
Uh,
joints are hurting, you can eat more pork to get that fat content. Fat and water is going to be what lubricates your joints to make you feel better.
mhm.
But pork is a really slow digesting protein.
Yeah.
So it's harder for your body to get hungry faster. So during a bulk, I really don't like eating pork, because I stay full longer.
All right, that makes sense.
Wow.
And I've never even thought about that, having to eat so much that you're almost like sick and tired of eating.
Dude, it's terrible. But I'm in it right now, because I'm like 275 is like my sticking point. And I told my wife when I did this bulk, I was like, I don't want to get back up to 300 this time. I just want to do 285. I think that's going to be manageable. But it seems like the last time I got stuck at 275 for a couple of weeks, and I've been this ice storm has kind of messed me up too, because I haven't been able to go to the gyms consistently. So I've been doing a lot of band work, and I've been doing a lot of ruck marching and stuff. And so it's, walking, 12,000 steps with weight on your back is a really good substitute for a leg workout, but it's pretty time consuming as well. But just trying to get all of the food in during this ice storm has been kind of a pain in the butt too. It's just, I don't know. It's a lot easier for me to eat at work when I'm at home, having to, deal with my 3 kids. It's harder for me to stay consistent with my meal because I'm out of my routine.
Yeah. And when did you get into all this? Like, were you like, let's say in like middle school or high school, were you into lifting?
So I played football in high school. I was same thing. Like when I started playing football, I was my freshman year. I think I was like 5'10", like 130 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I had a football coach that told me I was too slow to be a wide receiver, and I was too skinny to be, a middle linebacker or a lineman. So I needed to either get faster and stronger or get bigger and stronger. And so I went with the bigger and stronger route.
Yeah.
And I ended up, by my senior year of high school, I was like 220 pounds and 6'2". And so it was a lot of food. And so, but then I stopped playing football and immediately went back down to like 185, 190. Yeah. So that's just like where my body naturally wants to be. So I have to fight it the whole time.
So you said that you won that one competition. Have you won any more competitions?
No, I've podiumed. I think I placed third at one.
Yeah.
But so I won that first competition and then immediately left amateurs and went to the open weight class. And so I honestly haven't been super consistent with my training since I got married. And so I've been training sporadically. And so I'm really getting back into it this year. Mostly I've just used Strongman as a way for me just to stay in shape and stay active. I haven't been focused super hardcore on winning competitions, but I'm definitely trying to win some this year. But some of these open guys that I'm competing against, like, my best friend, he's 5'7", 220, 230 pounds, deadlifting 900 pounds. These are the dudes I'm competing against.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
And then I went to like heavyweight, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play in heavyweight. I'm bigger than these 231 guys. I think this would be good. And then, I look around at the heavyweight competition. It's like, all right, I'm one of the bigger guys here. I think this is gonna be fine. And then some 6'7" cornbread dude walks in that's 350 pounds, and I'm like, great, I just lost. Like, there's no way I'm beating this guy.
Yeah.
So I was
they say once you go into battle with you already thinking that you lost, you already lost.
Yeah.
You got to be like, no, I'm beating him.
Yeah. And so I could beat them on like the moving events and stuff, but then like my overhead press be like 270, 280 pounds. And this dude's warming up with 275 pounds. So I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Just being a realist, I'm just being a realist.
Yeah.
270 is a shitload of weight to press over your head too. So Jesus Christ.
Dude, I mean, we've got guys that are, so one of my old coaches, he weighs like 260 pounds. I think he's like 5'10".
Yeah.
He holds the American log press record. His name is Rob Kearney. And I think he overhead pressed 485 pounds.
Woo.
So, I mean, it's nuts. Some of these dudes are just genetic freaks.
Yeah.
But it's cool because I like competing against people that are stronger than me because it pushes me to get stronger. Like the whole, if you walk in and you're the strongest person in the gym, you need to find another gym.
Yeah. Same goes to that, like a smartest thing in the room kind of thing that people always say.
Exactly.
You don't want to be the smartest in the room. What are you going to learn?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's that, I mean, that's how I view it. And so I want to be competing in strongman until like I'm well into the master's age. So, 40, 50 years old, that's like my game plan. I just want to, it's never going to be my career. I'm an engineer. Engineering pays way more than strongman. Yeah. I'm never going to leave engineering for strongman. But if I'm competing into my 50s, I'm going to be very, very happy because it keeps me young, keeps me in good shape. I just love the competition. I love the sport. And the cool thing is too, even though you're like competing against these guys, there's been times where I've showed up and I didn't have like ammonia or, chalk or something like that. And dudes are just grabbing stuff out of their bags. Even though you're competing against them, they're giving you their stuff because they want to see you compete at your best too. And that's kind of the mentality for 95% of the guys competing and the girls competing in strongman. It's a wonderful environment to lift in. Everybody's trying to lift each other up. Like all these dudes and girls are just super wholesome. I love the environment.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Good to be around people like that.
It is. It really is.
So I wanted to ask you is because like with training and everything and else in life, you kind of run into like these plateau or these like mental barriers. Like what are some of the bigger like mental obstacles you had to overcome during like your powerlifting or your strongman like career, whether it's like the eating or
so I think I was not naturally like good at deadlifting. And so I had to really, really focus on becoming a good deadlifter, and just surrounding myself with people that were better than me at it. Like at first, it kind of sucks. Like you're doing something and you are just terrible at it, and you're surrounded by people that are really naturally good at it. That kind of sucks. But I think the thing is, and it's kind of my mentality towards everything. Like if I just surround myself with people that are better than me, eventually I'm going to catch up to them. And so I really had to focus on doing that. The other issue is sometimes, strongman training, if I'm doing my movement days, the training can last anywhere from 2 hours to 5 hours. And having kids, that's pretty tough. And so just forcing myself to have the discipline to actually go and train that long has been really difficult. And it took my wife a little bit to realize too, because, I go work out and she used to, some of her previous boyfriends were into working out and stuff too. And they go to the gym and they'd be gone for 30, 45 minutes. They'd be back. I'd be gone 4 hours. And she's like, what have you been doing? It's like, well, I
you're
lift real
cheating
weight.
on me.
Yeah. It's like, I lift actual real weight. Your boyfriend's before, like, going and doing Pilates and stuff. So I don't want to hear about that.
So you see these results? This is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And then she got into competing as well. She got into CrossFit and she's competed. Yeah. So she does. She has competed. She's only competed in one strongman competition, but she did pretty well. I was surprised, but she really liked CrossFit. And so I am totally on board with that. Whatever keeps her active. When we lived in Central Alabama, she had a really, really good CrossFit gym and I loved her coach. She's great. She's struggling to try and find one up here now, but like, for her Christmas present, I'm sitting here looking at it right now, but I bought her a Bella bar. Like she's got like a neon pink and black Bella bar so that she can have something to lift with. We got a squat rack back here that we're putting up. So, she's really into lifting. It's hard to do with 3 kids, but she's definitely starting to try to make time for it again. And it's something that we enjoy doing together.
Yeah.
It's fun. Even my oldest daughter loves it. My oldest daughter lifts with me too. She's 11, but she loves lifting.
Yeah. That's awesome. Family values there. What about the name Strongman? With this political PC that we're in, shouldn't it be called Strong Person? Is there a different one? Strong Woman? I'm just fucking.
So, well, no, it's funny though. That has been brought up before, but the people that would complain about it generally would be, the women. And most of the women that you deal with in strongman they don't give a shit. Like they're just there to lift, and like they're just a bunch of badasses. Honestly, I love lifting with some of the women. They're way more hardcore than some of the men that I'm lifting with, and like smaller bodies and everything else. And like pound for pound, I'm looking at them like, God, pound for pound, she's so much stronger than me. This sucks, but like it's just how it is. They're awesome. But generally they've started to do like strong woman only competitions, and they're just called strong woman. Nobody cares. Like it's it is what it is. Just as long as you're getting out there and getting active, none of us care about it. Like you could call it strong person if you wanted to. I'm still going to compete in there. I don't give a shit. I'm just there for the lifts.
I could imagine that most people that are doing strong man, strong woman, whatever, have the mental fortitude not to let that stupid bullshit like get to them.
Yeah.
It's like we're in the gym 5 hours a day. Like this ain't gonna get to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, so the people that have been doing it for a long time, and like, so especially some of the people that are really good, like they don't even involve themselves in those competitions or those conversations.
Yeah.
You'll see those conversations pop up. There is it's a Facebook group. It's just, I can't remember the name of it right now, but he has a podcast called Strong Talk Podcast. It's Kel Beck. But his group, they'll pop up every once in a while and they'll try and get political, and Kel like literally just delete people out of the group because that's not what he wants that group about. And
Yep.
so people are pretty intolerant of it. Like, just like, hey,
Yeah.
we're not here to do that. Like, we're not, we're here to pick up heavy stuff. And outside of picking up heavy stuff, leave it off the strongman pages.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. Like this
Yeah.
isn't Facebook.
No, it's not. And like, that's just not what we're about. And that's another thing I love about it. Like, you can be Republican, you can be Democrat, you can be Libertarian, whatever other parties there are. And, we have like open, honest conversations. And it's kind of cool too, because, one thing that really surprised me is when I got into it, you think strongman, like it's just a bunch of big, dumb animals. And, I'm an automation engineer. The guy that got me involved in it is a controls engineer. You got a lot of, I've competed against physicist majors. Like there's a lot of really, really smart dudes out there lifting weights. And it's not just big dumb animals. Like they're just highly intelligent people. And so you'll be sitting there, you'll doing your lifts, and then you're sitting off on the sideline talking about, political theories, talking about, astrophysics. And you never know what conversations are going on the sidelines because you don't know what these dudes are doing for a living. It's a really, really cool environment.
Yeah, that's so true. Most people would probably just think, oh, you're just dumb big guy, but they're ones that sitting there probably eating potato chips, watching TV or whatever all day.
Yeah.
Who's
Yep.
really the dummy here? I'm actually went to college. You went to college, you get a degree, right? For engineering, right? Is you have to.
So no, the reason I'm an engineer actually is because of Strongman.
Oh, okay. How'd that?
So
tell us about that.
So my best friend is a controls engineer. He got me involved in it. I was working at car dealerships whenever I first started in Strongman. So I was working like 12 to 14 hours working in the service department. And I started building these implements, these strongman implements with him. I would stay over at his garage till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd be welding stuff up, making stuff for us to pick up. And they needed a mechanical guy at the company he worked for. And he was like, dude, I don't know how much of a pay cut this is going to be for you, but I can get you an interview and you're not going to be working near these long hours. We need a mechanical guy. You obviously know what you're doing. And so I went and I interviewed for him. And my job in the military was I was a bomb disposal technician. So I disarmed bombs in Afghanistan with robots. And the company he worked for was a robotics company. And so I was applying for the mechanical position. And the whole time I was doing that, the CEO of the company was like, yeah, that's cool, but I want to hear more about this robot experience that you've got in Afghanistan. And so I left that interview and he was like, look, you can have the mechanical position if you want it. I'll hire you right now, but I'm really interested in giving you a chance to learn how to program because I think that you could be really good at this. And so I accepted the programming position, and the programming position actually turned into a teaching position. And then I ended up running the training department at Mercedes-Benz, teaching people how to program robots and program PLCs. And so Strongman is what actually turned me into an engineer.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know. Like,
Hey, networking is way more important, guys.
Yeah. That's what I always heard. Like, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, or about who knows you kind of as well.
Yep. Yeah, so it worked out pretty well, and I have a knack for programming. It's something that I just inherently understand, so that definitely helped me as well. But I wouldn't have gotten my foot in the door had it not been for me signing up for this random strongman gym in Huntsville, Alabama. So I'm super thankful for strongman in many, many aspects.
Yes, beautiful.
It's crazy. Maybe if you never do strongman, your whole life is completely different.
I'd still be working at car dealerships, just miserable dealing with people that hate life. So I'm very thankful for it.
And you're pretty good with people too, right? Because that's what I've noticed, like with Twitter and just how you communicate and stuff.
Yeah. I'm a very optimistic person. I try and treat everybody really nice. But when I was at car dealerships, I was actually a service manager. And so the people that want to talk to the service manager are never in a good mood. And so I'm a naturally optimistic, happy person. And then I'm just dealing with really negative people day in and day out. I was making really, really good money, but like, I just hated life every single day. Like I'd wake up and like, God, I got to go back to this place and deal with these people complaining about their piece of crap cars. And so I was anything that I could find as an exit out, I was willing to grasp on. And so like, I actually initially took around a 40 or $50,000 pay cut to get into this industry. Just, I mean, I was miserable. Like, no amount of money is worth your mental health. And so I
Yeah.
took it. And
Facts.
now it's worked out because I make more money than I did back then. But it's taken me a couple of years to get to that point, but way happier. You know, machines don't talk back to you. But
Yeah.
yes, I am a people person. I really do like talking to people, but that aspect, or that, I guess, you know, that atmosphere was just not for me. So I really
Yeah.
like talking to people on my own terms. You know, I could talk to a brick wall. Like, I love
Yeah.
talking to people, but that was just not for me.
Yeah, like they say, the energy of like a room. Like you could have 20 people in a room, all positive, having a great time. One person could come there, piss the fuck off, start yelling and stuff, and that's gonna just suck the vibe out of everything. Like
Oh
they
yeah,
said,
100%.
yeah. So that's like if you're around that all day, it's just like it's gonna affect you. They say
Yeah, no,
the
it's
most common or contagious thing, the most contagious thing over a positive attitude is a negative attitude. So
oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, man, I can only imagine being around that.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I wasn't with my wife at that time. I was with another girl, and like that relationship ended up failing. And I have absolutely no doubt that it was because I was just a miserable human being when I went home.
Yep.
So thankful it didn't work out because I met my wife, and so obviously that worked out for the better. But I have no doubt that that definitely affected me in my home life. Just you can't not bring it home with you. There's
Yep.
certain
No.
aspects that you're just going to bring it home with. So working in a positive environment, and that's another thing the gym's really good for. Like if you've had a
Yeah.
bad day at work, you go to the gym, like you're going to be able to relieve some of that stress. So for
Mhm.
me, I work out before I go to work, so that doesn't really work out. I get all my stress relief out. But
Do you ever hit the bag or anything?
I have. When I was in the military, I got into jujitsu for a little bit. I never really went anywhere with it. I've toyed with going. So the reason I don't do it now, I did try it, but it's really difficult for me to focus on like jujitsu and strongman. It's kind
Yeah.
of like I have to pick one or the other because when I was doing both, I was I thought I was going to end up getting rhabdo because I was just training way too much, and so I've not so much hitting the bag, but definitely rolling and doing jujitsu. I have done that
Yeah.
before. Um, I would like to do it. The problem is just trying to find enough time in the day to do it
Yeah.
and also not destroy my body in the process. Because I'm 34 years old, about to be 35. I'm not 20 something anymore. Like my
Yeah.
body just does not recover the way that it used to.
Yeah. Feel you on that one.
I just figured
Ooh.
it might be good to like let out some stress back in your sales days. Have the bag. You're like, I work out in the morning, so I just come home and beat the shit out of this for a little bit, and then I could go to say hi to the family, all loving.
That may have actually worked. That was, I don't know. I tore my labrum back then. And like, I just remember there was like a year and a half of my life where I was recovering from shoulder surgery. And
Ooh.
so that's probably when my squat started developing so much because I couldn't do anything but legs. So I had, you know, one normal sized arm, one arm that was like half the size of my other arm. And then I just had massive legs at that time. So it kind of worked out.
That's what Steven's doing, right? He has one arm.
Yeah.
He was just
Oh no.
he was
Well,
working on one
I
arm.
messed up. I was arm wrestling someone probably like 20 years ago, and we're both almost like a stalemate where we're both trying our hardest and no one could win. And then afterwards, like my wrist started feeling weird, and I was in my 20s. I really didn't think much of it. And then the pain just was always there. And eventually I did go to the doctors, and he's like, "Oh, well, you had like a hairline fracture that didn't heal right. So now like I had like a loss of mobility." And he was like, basically we have to re-break it and have it heal again if you want to fix it. And looking back, maybe I should have did it, but I was young and it only hurt a little bit. So I was like, fuck it. I could still do push-ups on my knuckles. Everything else was fine. So I kind of didn't do it. So now it's I'm running into problems with it. Like the wrist is still there. Little things will like make it inflamed and pretty much make my wrist useless. So I've been doing all my workouts kind of just on one side of my body.
So, is it too late now to fix it?
Yeah, pretty much. The guy, the last time I went to look at it, he's like, you basically have like zero cartilage there, and the only
Oh,
two options was to fuse it together so it's just locked into place, or to remove a bone, which would give the other bones more move to room to move around in there. But he's like, yeah, lifting weights and going back to that, he's like, that is something that we would talk about way in the future. But I'm even thinking with the less mobility, there's certain things you're not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Gotta work
So I
around
was
it.
like, I was bitching and complaining for years about not being able to work out. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to work out the one side of my body. Then I'll do what I can and just work around it. And that's just kind of, it is what it is.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah. So what about injuries with the strongman? Like, do
So
you get any back problems? There's a lot of people with back problems, or what kind of problem? Shoulder problems, or like
I
injuries?
do have, so I've got really bad arthritis in my back. This is kind of what spurred me getting into lifting.
Yeah.
I was injured in Afghanistan. Obviously being a bomb technician, my body's been subjected to plenty of explosions. There was one particular explosion that happened in front of us, and I was in the turret. I got hit with a blast wave, slamming in the back of the turret. I've got really bad arthritis from it. Then obviously arthritis in my knees because I was a soldier, and walking 12 miles with 50, 60 pounds on your back is going to end up doing that. But when I got back home, I was still lifting weights, and I went and had an x-ray done, and they did an x-ray on my back, and my back just lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like, this is all arthritis. I'm like, huh, didn't realize I had that. And he was like, do you work out a lot? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I lift like 4 or 5 times a week. And the doctor was like, cool, don't ever stop doing that, because your back is not going to like it if you lose that muscle mass. And so I really, really focus that. I mean, that's why I'm so driven to, just stay in shape, because I know that once I stop, my body's going to start falling apart. And that's another reason why I try and eat really clean. And I do try and take care of myself, because I do know that, because I was really rough on my body in the 20s, if I want to continue doing this into my 50s, 60s, and 70s, I have to take better care of myself now than what I did before. As far as like specific injuries, I have tweaked my back a couple times, nothing major. I don't, other than like just randomly like pulling a muscle, I haven't actually really gotten injured. I think the worst injury I've done is I really messed my knee up probably like 3 or 4 years ago, but that wasn't even competing. That was at a Christmas party, and I got like too drunk, and I like tripped and just messed up my knee, and I was out of training for like 3 or 4 months. It was pretty nasty. Yeah. It's always alcohol. It's always alcohol.
Been there.
But other than that, I just little tweaks here and there. I haven't really injured myself. I've seen some of my friends. One of my buddies, he's torn both of his biceps, and it was on freaking axle press. That's why if you ever do one of his competitions, he'll never have an axle press in it, because he's torn his biceps on it. He won't ever mess with those again. Tire flips, they're really bad for tearing biceps as well. So you got to be careful if you're doing like really heavy tire flips. Having your arm straight down, fully extended is a really good way to tear your biceps. I didn't see this. This happened at his house by himself, but he was doing sumo deadlifts and completely tore his hamstring. So like he showed up at the gym like 2 days later, and his entire leg was black. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So I've seen some
Still
crazy
going to the
injuries.
gym.
Yeah. I've seen some crazy injuries, but I have not been subjected to them. When I tore my labrum, that was like back in my bodybuilding days, and I don't even know how I tore it. I honestly think I tore it moving somebody, not even in the gym. So it's been like my really crazy injuries have been, nothing to do with the gym at all. But I also, like in my training, I don't, I'm not trying to max all the time. Like generally the only time I ever go for a PR or a max is going to be in competitions, because whenever you're going for a PR, that's the time that you're most likely to get injured. So I don't do PRs in training for that reason, because if I injure myself in training, that takes away from my competitions. Like if I injure myself in competitions, that is what it is. That's part of the risk of competing. All right. That's part of the risk of pushing myself, but you shouldn't do that in training. Don't ever injure yourself in training. That's kind of silly to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was wondering, because I do construction, so I've been bending over. My back hurts and my knees. I'm 40 now. Hurt from just like construction and just not, going really hard and stuff like that. So you're saying basically by working out your muscles in your back and everything, like they're so strong, they kind of like help out the like the spine
Mhm.
and stuff pretty much. So they don't.
Yeah. Anytime you have like, so think about it. Like if you have a joint injury or something like that, what do you have to go through? You have to go through physical therapy. Physical therapy is not working out the joint. Physical therapy is working out the muscles around that joint so that the muscles are supplementing that joint structure so the joint's not having to rely on itself so much anymore.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
by increasing your, muscle tone and increasing your strength, you're just taking some of the stress off of those joints. And yeah, especially being in construction, I know you beat your body up all the time. And I know, especially in like these really physically labor jobs, it's really difficult to go and work, 10, 12 hours building a house or doing trim or whatever. And there's like, all right, cool. Now I got to go to the gym.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's that's what it is for me. Like I live 75 miles from where I work. I have to be at work by 6 a.m. every single morning. On days of that train, I leave my house at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
It's tough, but it's either I work out super early in the morning or I have to work out after work. But when I work out after work, that means I don't get to see my wife and kids.
yep,
So it sucks, but if I don't do that, then I'm not getting to work out. So, you got to pick your suck. It's either going to
Yeah.
suck waking up in the morning or it's going to suck by my body just hurting from me not working out all the time. Or it's going to suck by having my wife complain to me because I'm never at home to see the kids. So I got 3 sucks to choose from. I'm going to pick the less of the 3 sucks.
yeah. That's perfect. And Steven is waking up early. He has the same struggle right now trying to wake up early. But
Yeah. Started a new job, so I'm working on just waking up early and doing the workout in the morning and getting it out of the way. But it's one of those things too. It's like easier said than done. It's like when I wake up in the morning, it's like the bed is just too comfortable. So that's my little stupid mental battle. So I told myself I'm done
Charter
with
does it. You could do it too, Steven.
yeah, done with it. This and that was the thing. I was doing it before, but I got too comfortable going in later, getting
Yeah.
getting home earlier. So the new job, I start earlier and I get home later. So the only option for me is like workout in the morning. Kind of like what you said. They're all gonna suck. Well, which suck do you want? Because after work, I have my son, my fiance,
Mhm.
and obviously you want to give your family quality time as well. You can't put
Yeah.
them on the back burner.
Right.
So
Well,
if I
another
wait till after
thing,
work, the workout usually becomes the
uh,
sacrifice.
another thing that I've really enjoyed because I was never, I mean, this whole morning workout thing for me, that's only started within the past, I would say 3 or 4 months.
Oh, okay.
And now that I've developed into this routine, on the weekends, other than today, most of the time I'll wake up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on my own. And then
Yeah,
I'll
me too.
just hop out of the house, go knock out my workout, and I'm getting back home 6:30, 7 o'clock. And my family's just now starting to move around. And I just knock out breakfast. But another thing I really
Yeah.
like about it is I'm going to the gym, doing what I got to do, and then I go to work, and then I've got energy throughout the day.
Mhm.
It just, it makes me feel better. Whereas working out at night, I've got more food in me, so I feel like my workouts are stronger. I can definitely lift more weight because I've got more calories.
Hmm.
But sometimes, like, you're driving home, it's like, man, I can drive right past this gym right now and go straight home.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Now that I've gotten into the routine of it, working out in the morning is just way easier for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sucky part is just getting into the habit of making the new routine. That's like the
Hmm.
brutal aspect of it where you're kind of flip flopping back and forth.
Hmm.
And then also,
But
I was gonna
what,
oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. No, it's good.
I was gonna think too about just like I was gonna backtrack a little about the injuries. Like, so my back be hurting or my knees and stuff. And like a couple days ago, I'm just laying around, like you were saying, like if you don't work out, your body kind of hurts more than going and working out. But I'm just sitting there thinking, like, man, like how am I gonna go to the gym? Like my back's hurting, my knees hurting. I just feel like my body's breaking down. And then I go to the gym and I run 4 miles and I actually felt better after it. I'm like, so
Yeah.
it's crazy how that working out actually, even though you have pain, it's like, I don't know, do you just working through it or is
Yeah.
it actually helping you out?
Yeah. Like your body wants to be healthy. Like if you give it the nutrition, the sleep, and the movement that it needs, it's going to surprise you with how much better you feel. Like
Mhm.
we're, going back to, nomadic times, we're walking 15, 20 miles a day, like hunting for food and stuff. Our
Yeah.
bodies are our bodies are more capable than what we give them credit for. Like, we've just gotten, and I hate to say this, not to get all, liver king on you, but like we've gotten pretty pampered over the past 200 years. The Industrial Revolution allowed for comforts that humanity never thought we would ever see. And so, there's a major obesity problem, especially in America. There's, like I said, you have to pick yourself. Like, there's hard choices every single day. I can go to McDonald's and get the cheeseburgers and fries and the large drink or whatever, and then I'm gonna feel like crap after. But it's easy. Or I can go home and I can spend 30 or 45 minutes cooking, and I feel great after I eat, but I do have to spend 30 or 45 minutes cooking. So you have to pick which hard you want. And for me, it's just once I figured out that mentality, I would much rather, spend my time and my energy doing something that's going to give my body back what it needs.
Yeah, that's so true. Like when I eat McDonald's, I feel like total crap, and then I come home and make a steak and some broccoli, and I feel so good after. I'm like, I eat, and I'm just like thinking like, because I did it for so long eating processed foods, I never really cooked. So when I started doing it, I would eat the steak, cooking a nice meal, and I would just be like, why doesn't my body feel like any different? Like it feels actually good after I eat. It felt weird to actually have your body feel good after eating. It was so crazy.
Yeah, I made the mistake. It was super late, and I had to be at work early, and we were in Falkville, and there was a McDonald's right there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just going to grab something from McDonald's real quick." My wife and I drove separately, and my wife was like, "You're really going to eat McDonald's? Like, what's going to happen?" And I was like, "Look, it'll be fine." And then I got home, and she was like, "Did you stop at McDonald's?" I was like, "Yeah, I feel like shit. Why did you let me do that?" She was like, "I told you what was going to happen."
Dude, McDonald's makes me feel the worst out of all of them too. It's crazy. I don't know what is in there.
And it's my kid's favorite restaurant. It pisses me off so much. I'm like, "Where do you want to eat?" Like, McDonald's. I'm like, "No, anywhere but there." Like, I will take you to the most expensive hibachi restaurant in Alabama. I don't care. I'm not going to McDonald's. We're not doing this. But we do try and eat at home mostly, just simply because, it's obviously, with me being like the blue collar investments, I'm like trying to, help with finances and budgeting and everything else. And like when you eat as much as I do, eating out all the time will make you go broke. So I eat at home 95% of the time.
And it's funny because people do think that eating at home is more expensive when I actually did the research, like the literally doing it in real life. And fast food is definitely more expensive. Like, and not only that, it doesn't fill you up as much, it seems like.
Well, I think that stigma comes from like if you go to Wendy's, you can get like their 4 for $4 meal, all right, or whatever it is. It's super cheap. But one thing that's not on their super cheap menus are salads or like grilled chicken or stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to eat healthy at fast food restaurants, it is more expensive. All right. But when I tell you to eat healthy, I'm not telling you to go to Wendy's and get a salad. I'm telling you to go buy a head of lettuce and chop up your lettuce, because you can go get a head of lettuce right now for like $1.75 at my local grocery store, or you can buy the prepackaged salad container for $6. Like, no, there's cheaper ways to do it, or go into Sam's or Costco, whichever one you've got closest to you, and you can go there and get chicken breast for $1.99 a pound or whatever, and I'll just buy like 10 or 15 pounds at a time, and I'll just go through and buy as much as I can. Generally, I'll go super early in the mornings where they've got their like yellow label specials, where it's like the meat that's going to expire in a day or two, and I'll buy 30 or 40 pounds of meat at one time, and I'll just go home and I will fill up my deep freezer. And then as we need stuff, that morning, my wife, as she's on her way out of work, she'll grab a frozen pack of meat and throw it in the sink and let it defrost for the rest of the day. And then whenever I'm home, we've got thawed out meat and I can just cook, or she can cook, whatever. But there's way cheaper ways to do it. Eating out is not the way to go if you're trying to gain muscle mass or eat any type of, and especially in a caloric surplus. It's just so expensive trying to gain weight.
And then you think too, like people say, oh, it's cheaper because, oh yeah, if you go and grab 4 nuggets, it's cheaper. But you're not grabbing 4 nuggets. You're grabbing a number one super size with the milkshake, and it ends up being 17, 18, $20, and then it's like I say, it's not really as filling. You're like 2 hours later, you're hungry again.
Especially if you've got a family of 5 like I do. I've got 3 kids, my wife and I, and then you go to McDonald's and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be $45. I'm like, What? How? It's McDonald's. So yeah, it's not on the docket for us. Like we will, if we've got like games or something, we'll pack. My wife's got this giant bag that she carries with her everywhere. We'll pack a cooler full of drinks or something, and we'll pack like snacks, and then we'll just let the kids do that. But I will do everything in my power not to stop at a fast food restaurant now. It makes me feel like crap. It's so expensive. I don't see any positives to it other than, time management, but I can manage my time so much more effectively in other areas. That way I don't have to buy fast food.
And then I wonder like how it affects like your joints and your back and stuff too, compared to like eating a grass-fed steak and some beans or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's all like, especially like sugar. Sugar's never good. Having a lot of that stuff is just super high in fat, which on my really heavy weeks, I will increase my fat intake and increase my water intake because, like I said earlier, fat and water lubricate your joints. All right,
Okay.
but higher fat content is generally going to mean that you're going to be gaining, weight, gaining fat. But some of the most lean guys on the planet, they do the keto diet, and all keto is protein and fat. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so it works. Whenever I try and cut weight, I do a really, really strict version of keto where I don't even count like net carbs. I'm counting just carbs, period. So on my non-training days, I'll go down and I won't eat more than like 15 grams of carbs. And that's how I cut weight. But I mean, that's all keto is. It's just protein and fat. Like it works. So your body will thrive off of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I was like, man, that fast food and like I don't know, like I'm just trying to figure out how do I fix my knee and my back. That's pretty much it. Because I want to, like you say, I want to go on longevity as well. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about. Health over everything, like because people don't understand like the choices you're making now and you're 50 and 60. So, like I went hard in my 20s and my 30s. Now I'm in my 40s and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm already, my back's hurting a little bit. Like I went and bent over today and got my shoes and I'm like, oh, what the hell? I feel it's like pinching a nerve. Like just, then you start thinking in your mind, okay, how's this going to be when I'm 60? So it's like, and that pain gives you a signal to like, hey, you need to figure out how you can eat as healthy as you can and exercise and do all the right things.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do either one of y'all follow Squat University on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that?
No,
I don't think so.
So he is a physical therapist that has a background in Olympic lifting. The dude, when it comes to joint mobility, is probably one of the smartest people on the planet. But him actually being a physical therapist and working with strength athletes, he goes into just ridiculous ways to increase your hip mobility, increase your ankle mobility, increase, your back posture, all these other things. And I can get on his Instagram and just watch his videos for like hours at a time. He's just a wealth of information, and he goes into all that, and he talks about like, in your 70s or 80s, you're not going to be deadlifting 600-700 pounds, but in your 70s or 80s, you want to be able to get up off the toilet by yourself. And how you do that is by maintaining a strength building regimen throughout your entire life. The people that are really struggling in their, up on in their later years prior to they should be struggling, those are the ones that haven't prioritized fitness. And so you don't have to deadlift 700-800 pounds. So that my goals are not going to be what everybody's goals are, but
yeah,
I really do believe that everybody would benefit from just a normal strength training regimen. If you get underneath a squat bar and you're squatting, 100 to 200 pounds or something, that's still going to be really good for you. Like your body is going to do that. I'm training somebody right now, and he is, surprising himself because he is, getting stronger faster. Like that first week was pretty rough for him, but after that, he's like, yeah, I'm feeling better. Like I'm sore, I'm definitely, feeling it, but my body and my energy level, I just, everything's improving. And, there's little things that you can do. Like right now, I'm doing this podcast. I'm standing because I have a standing desk. Like, sitting all day is not necessarily good for you. There's certain little things that you can do to try. I see people that I don't have one because I don't work from home, so I don't use this desk very often. But like the little walking pad in front of your standing desk, like those are really cool. Like just trying to get your body mobile as much as possible it's going to do wonders for you.
Yeah, and I'm very mobile. You always see me. I'm like hiking and going to the gym, and I
Yeah.
work construction. So, and then when I sit
Yeah.
down here at this desk and try to edit videos for 2 or 3 hours,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like my back is probably sitting at a little angle and putting all that
Mm.
pressure on my back as well. What do you
It's
think about
funny
like?
that
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that story that you're talking about right now reminds me when I was living with my cousin, his neighbor had a couple of these older Asian people, and always looked like the grandma and the grandpa daily would go do a certain amount of laps
Yeah.
on the block, but they looked old, like they were in their 90s, but it's probably because they made a routine of
Hmm.
getting that exercise in, so they're still able to walk and be mobile, where if other people like kind of neglect your health, you get into those spots later on in life where you're stuck in the bed or you're a wheelchair, you can't walk, you can't move. But yeah, it got me thinking about that, just keeping up with it for the longevity of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My grandfather, I mean, he ended up passing away from lung cancer, but prior to him getting lung cancer, he was pushing his 70s and he had 6 gardens. So he'd hop on his tractor in the morning, go do whatever he was needing. But I mean, and yeah, he wasn't working out necessarily, but he's
Mhm.
bending over, seeding his garden, doing everything else, making sure watering it. Like that kept him so busy. So, fitness can look like many different things to many different people. But if your
Mhm.
body is mobile, it's going to stay mobile longer. So just
Yeah.
try and, it's inertia. You know, things in a force of motion are going to want to stay in motion until something stops them. So, it's what your body wants to do. So just get out and move.
I'm definitely gonna look at that squat university because I need to like. I tried yoga a little bit here and there just on YouTube, and
Yeah.
that worked pretty all right. But just to keep that mobility of the hip and then the knees and the back to keep those are your main core things that you need to keep
Hmm.
going.
Do you
It's
have
helped
like
me a lot.
I was gonna ask you, do you have like a mobility work that's part of your routine that you do?
Yeah, so I do, and I follow. It's from Squat University.
Okay.
So the like for squats and stuff, one of the best things I can do for mobility, um, I will actually sit in the squat position, like deep in the squat position, like trying to go,
Mm.
for lack of better term, ass to grass.
Mhm.
And I have very very long femurs and a relatively short upper body. So getting squat depth for me is not easy. But I found out that I had very limited ankle mobility.
All
And
right.
so I will do ankle mobility things and I want to do hip mobility things. And, when I'm sitting in the living room, if my wife and I are watching TV, I'll, just randomly go and just get into the squat position for like 90 seconds or so
Huh.
and just hold it there because it's opening up my hips and allowing me to, get better in depth. And my wife, she did the same thing. She found out she's a huge squat university fan. When I introduced her to that, she was like, "Oh my God, this helps me so much."
Yeah.
So it's crazy because like you lose that mobility over time. Like if you look, you'll notice like kids, they can achieve like it's called the Asian squat position. Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so like people, that's not necessarily that's a people thing. That's not a Asian continent thing. Like
Yeah.
everybody can do that. If you look at kids, like both of my daughters have like the perfect squat position. Like they can go
Yeah.
and their butt is touching their heels. If I tried to do that, I'm going to fall over backwards.
Huh.
So like it's because you lose your mobility over the years, and a lot of that has to do with, it's kind of weird, but there's like some theories about it. But like Japan stuff, they don't have one of the leading theories on it is Japan doesn't have toilets. They squat down to use the bathroom and stuff. And so they have to achieve that squat position to use the bathroom, whereas we don't. We just go sit on a toilet. And so, that's a prevailing theory. I don't know necessarily how much I believe that, but when I worked
Makes
at I
sense.
worked at I worked
Yeah.
at Toyota Motors for a while, and all of the Asian engineers that I were working with, like they'd be sitting there working on a problem, and they would just set the book down on the ground and go into like the perfect squat position every time. And I'm like, God, I hate you. I'm so jealous. Like,
Yeah, when I try to squat, because I was always kind of a little intimidated by doing the squats and the deadlifts because my back and my knee from work and stuff. But I did it a couple times so far. I've only done it like twice at the gym.
yeah,
But it's just like when I go down, let's see, I guess when you have when you have the bar on, that's a dead squat. Yeah, you have it on there and you just go down. Yeah, that's like when I go down too far, my knee will just like pop. It's like a little popping sound.
Yeah,
When I go down too far, I was like, so should I go all the way down or should I just
you
until it pops
should.
or
I
should I
mean,
just?
well, I mean, yeah, you should be trying to go all the way down, but your knees are going to make some god awful racket until like your body starts getting used to that. So
Okay.
one thing that I do to try and force myself to get more mobility is it's called sissy squats. Have you ever heard of them?
Uh-uh. Sissy squats?
Sissy squats.
Let me pull it.
So it's really good. I'm doing a bodybuilding circuit right now. So because I'm trying to gain weight, I'm trying to get bigger. So I'm trying to really focus on getting my quads more developed. And so sissy squats really, really help with that. And so with those, what I do is I'll get on a hack squat machine and I will go down, but I come up onto my toes at the bottom of the squat so that I can force my butt to touch my heels. And so I'm literally going until my joints no longer can move. And then I stand up in the squat position. And I do that in the hack squat because I can't do that and maintain balance in just a regular squat rack. I've seen people do it on, instead of using the hack squat, they'll use, what's the name of that thing? It's a squat rack that's on like the guide pins. Everybody always
Oh,
makes
okay.
fun of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. Yeah. As soon as I get off the podcast, I'll think of it. God, you're an idiot. You should have known that. But I've seen people do that. Sam Sulik.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's the one that turned me on to the sissy squats. And for like developing quads, it's great. But what I've noticed is that when I first started doing it, my knees and I've got one ankle that kind of gives me issues. They were popping and making all kinds of crazy noises, and I just kept doing it. And I changed my foot position a little bit to where it didn't hurt as much. But what it's done for my mobility has just been phenomenal. So I've got way more hip mobility and my knees are not hurting near as much. And
Nice.
so, yeah, you definitely need to be achieving really good depth on squats. But the thing is
Okay.
you need to be doing that at a much lower weight until you're ready to go up. Like,
Yeah.
nobody should like starting off. You don't need to necessarily,
Mm.
people get really worried for some reason about how much weight that they're lifting. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. If I see somebody that's got 225 pounds on the bar, and they're doing quarter reps versus if I see somebody with 135 on the bar and they're going to where, they're going to the very bottom of their mobility range, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. The kid over here, ego lifting with 225, I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're going to get much more out of it if you go the full range and you allow your muscles to get that full development.
Yeah, that's what like I learned that last year when I first started really getting into the gym. Like I've been to the gym for years and years, but like just here and there, and like never took it seriously until last year, June. And one day I was like doing this. You sit down and you just pull up and push up on the things for your shoulders. And I was like, let me just go really heavy, like after a few months. And like I couldn't move I had to literally lay down on the grass thing in the gym, couldn't move my arm for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I think I pulled something, but it didn't. It started moving again after a while.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, now I'm totally content with not lifting heavy because I'm like, I'm not trying to fuck my shit up because I couldn't sleep on that shoulder for a while, like
Yeah.
months and everything.
It takes time. Everybody can lift heavy if they really want to, but it doesn't happen overnight. Like, you have to
Yeah.
condition your body for that. And another thing I will say too, and I don't know why it is, but like people are so weird about it. But if you have questions, if you go and find the biggest dude in the gym, I promise you, he is going to want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and it's something that I've noticed in Strongman, but the biggest, strongest, meanest looking dudes are generally the nicest, most humble people because they've put in the years of effort and the, thousands and thousands of calories and trying to focus on getting 7 hours of sleep a night. Like, they're the most dedicated people in that gym and they love what they do. And so they're going to want to expand, like they're going to want to tell you all the knowledge they've gathered over the years.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, you see a giant dude in the gym in between sets, just go up and like, hey man, what do you like doing for this? Because when people come up to me and ask me that, especially like the high school kids, I love it. I'm like, oh, dude, you need to do this. You need to do that. Make sure you're doing this. Don't overdo it. Like, I want to talk to people about it because if more people were in good shape, like everybody's going to be happy. And I'm an optimistic, happy person. So I want everybody to be happy. So like, get in the gym and stay in the gym. Whatever you got to do to stay active and, become your best you, that like, I will gladly sit there and talk to people.
And that's a great piece of advice. People love to talk about what they love, like
Yeah.
they love to do. Like
Yeah. And if
finally
the
somebody's
dude
interested
is,
in this.
yeah, if the dude is walking around like looking like he's cracking the pavement as he's walking, like I guarantee you, like he really loves working out. And so he will talk to you. And same goes for girls. Girls will talk to you like all day about what they want. I mean, it doesn't matter. So just with girls, you got to be careful because the second you go and talk to them, they're like, oh, he's just trying to get my pants. Like, so
Yeah.
you have to be careful how you approach that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to work out. Stop trying to get my number.
Yeah. Yeah. So it happens, but yeah, it works out. I mean, like I said, like if you go and try and talk to the biggest dude in the gym, he's going to talk to you every single time. Don't be intimidated just because of his size, because he's put in way more time and effort than you could ever imagine to get that big. And I guarantee you, he wants to talk about it.
Yes. Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
big guys in my
definitely.
gym.
I feel like too, someone in order to get that big, they've probably been through every single mental like struggle you could possibly think of.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially like if the dude's got a ring on, I guarantee you he has had to come up with some inventive ways to stay active in the gym that he has, because my wife loves that I'm in really good shape. My wife does not love that I'm gone for 3 to 5 hours working out. So like
Yeah.
I've had to come up with stuff like I bought a squat rack. The squat rack is going up in this office. I've got a Bellapar, an axle, and a Rogue squat bar sitting 5 feet from me right now. Like I've had to come up with some crazy stuff in order for me to be able to work out. Like
So like
it is
when
what it
you're
is.
working out, you're in the middle of a set and then you hear the wife say, go grab the 11-year-old. So you're just like, okay, let me finish this. And you go and do it. And then you have to come back into your set.
Generally, so yeah, that is kind of a difficult one. Generally that doesn't happen. I haven't actually put the squat rack up yet. I bought it and Christmas happened and it's been crazy since then. So that's got to go up. Um, dude, I'll be honest with you. Like if I'm in here working out, usually the kids are going to be with me because
Oh, okay.
they love it. So
Nice.
the only one I have to worry about is the baby because she doesn't know what's going on. She just gets
Yeah.
into everything. But like especially my 11-year-old, they had a strong kid competition and they do it every summer and she's wanting to train for it this year because she really, really wants to do it. But my 11-year-old is into absolutely everything. She plays every sport known to man. Like right now, she's in the middle of cheerleading, basketball, and archery. And then as soon as all of those are over, she'll start spring softball. And we have the summers off. But then during the fall, she'll do volleyball and then fall softball. And then those end just in time for cheerleading and basketball to kick back off. So, like, other than the summers, we're just wide open. But during the summer, she's on the river with me because my daughter also loves to surf. So, we stay busy all summer. So it's just, I like that aspect of it too, because if the dude's huge and he's got a ring on, like, that's the best thing to do for your kids, because my kids seeing my wife and I prioritizing health and fitness over a
Mm-hmm.
lot of other things.
Yep.
And I want them to prioritize that going into it, because nobody wants their kid to grow up and become obese and unhealthy or anything like that. It's just a harder way of life. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want my kids to prioritize their health and fitness, because once you take care of yourself first, the rest of the stuff kind of falls into place, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like kids definitely do mock like their parents and what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
Oh yeah.
Steven's kid, his son, like he's over there doing pull up and stuff and like
Mm-hmm.
trying to eat healthy, trying to jump on the podcast here and there. Like one day he
Yeah.
posted a picture of a video of him doing a pull up and everyone on just one pull up. And everyone on TikTok was like, that's child abuse. Like they're making
Are
it
you
seem like
forcing him to do that? I'm like,
you're making it seem like
he well,
he's
he sees yeah, he sees me doing pull-ups. Like, what am I supposed to tell him? Like, no, you're not allowed to do a pull-up. So, like,
Dude,
of
it's
course,
like
like, have at it.
that was so
there is
insane.
absolutely zero scientific evidence of making your child working out causing them to stunt their growth or be bad for their joints and everything else. Like, obviously, I'm not going to let my 11-year-old try and deadlift 500 pounds. All right.
She's not even
But
close
no,
to that.
yeah, but like, so she's 70-ish pounds and
Yeah.
she can deadlift 90 pounds. She has
Oh
deadlifted 90
wow.
pounds before. She's strong. My 11-year-old
That's
is
pretty
very strong.
amazing.
But like it's taken us a long time to work up to that. And she hasn't worked out in a couple of months. So now I wouldn't let her probably deadlift over like 30 or 40 pounds until we work back up to it. But like, whenever we're working out together, over emphasize like form, because it's just like, I want you to be able to do all of this in the best form possible.
Yep.
And like, I want her to get into Olympic lifting, because there is a shortage of girls in Olympic lifting. And if you are a good Olympic lifter, that is a really good way for you to get free college. And I want her to have free college because I don't want to pay for it. So I want her to get into that. She's really interested in it, but she's more interested in the strong kid competitions right now, because she
Okay.
sees me and my friends competing in strongman. And I don't know, she loves it. I mean, she's grown up. Like, she just goes to these competitions, and it's just dudes everywhere that are just monsters. And she's just running around having the time of her life. And like, all these like super big, burly, tattooed dudes are like, playing with my daughter, like talking to her, like, and that's just her normal. So that's what she likes.
Yeah, and like people don't understand that kids are like filled with energy and they're so active. Like
Mm.
working out isn't gonna like ruin their life. Like they need to get rid
No.
of some of that energy somehow.
Yeah.
Like instead of, what do you just want to play on the iPad? Like that's not child abuse. Like just play on the iPad
Yeah.
all day.
No,
Yeah.
no. Like, we've got, we live out in the country. Like, my kids are out climbing in the trees. We've got a creek that runs through our property. I can't tell you how many times they came in covered in mud and
Yeah.
everything else, just because they're out there playing in the creek. They're running in the woods behind our house. Like, they're going to work out one way or another.
Yep.
But you limiting them to, staying alone, staying inside, playing on the iPad and everything else, like, I hate that. Like, that's just
Yeah, me
not
too.
for me. Like, I don't like it. Like, I said, my son's autistic, and so he does not like doing physical stuff.
Mhm.
So I actually do have to encourage him to go outside and try and be active and do everything else. Because if I let him, he would play his Nintendo Switch 24 hours a day. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, definitely.
no, we can't. We cannot do that, buddy. We got to go outside. We got to do some other stuff. But that's just the type of brain he has. So
Yeah.
like, he'll do that. But like, I'm also I teach kids how to program, and so
Yeah.
I'm on it's called a first robotics team, but I teach high school kids how to build robots. That's what I did when I was a teacher before I went back into engineering. And so he'll go do that with me. So I've got my daughter that's really into strongman, but then my son is on the other side of my personality, where he's like, hey, I want to program and build these robots. So yeah, your kids are going to mirror whatever you do. It's just, you got to be careful what they're mirroring.
Yep. Definitely. Anything else, Steven?
I think we covered everything. We
I
talked
was
about like do you have like a specific like a workout training that you do for these competitions where you're
So
hitting
it
bench?
does it does change with every single competition, because the lifts are never the same. But I loosely follow the 5-3-1 program routine.
Okay, I've heard of that one. So something
Yes.
wielder or
Yeah, so that's where it came from. Yeah. So there is an app that you can get. You can punch in your totals. It's just the 5-3-1 app. You
okay.
can punch in your totals. I use the paid version, but you punch in whatever your PRs are, and then it tells you step by step what lifts you should be doing. And so I'll
Mhm.
do that for my main lifts, and then I program my own accessory lifts.
Okay.
And then if you are interested in weightlifting training at all, I am. I just recently started doing personal training again.
Nice.
So I do that. I do that through the Everfit app. So I will write your programming for you on a weekly basis. And then if you don't know exactly what the exercise is that I have written for you, Everfit gives you a video tutorial of how to do that exercise. So it's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
I never even heard of that app.
Okay, and one last thing, I like you mentioned that your grandfather, rest in peace,
Yeah.
passed away at lung cancer. Like, did
Yeah.
he? I just wondering because I smoked for a long time and always wondered about it. Like,
Yeah.
did he smoke?
So he did. He smoked until the day that he died. He had small
Okay.
cell carcinoma, and I did everything I could to try and get him to quit smoking. Him and my grandmother passed away from complications from lung cancer. She beat lung cancer, but chemo beat her body up so bad, like she just couldn't recover from it. And my grandfather did the same thing. My grandfather has some other issues going on though, because he was a Vietnam War veteran, and so
Oh,
he got
nice.
he got hit by Agent Orange pretty badly, and
Yep.
that caused a lot of health problems for him. So, but smoking since you're 15 years old does not help anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my uncle, he died. He was a Vietnam veteran too, but the Agent Orange gave him cancer. He died in his 50s. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's crazy that Agent Orange. But yeah, I was just
yeah,
wondering. I
dude.
was like, because I was
Yeah,
smoking. I smoked a lot of weed, and when on my party days, I'd smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I haven't smoked in a while now, about 170 days, but I've been off and on, like
Nice.
trying to quit. Like I would
Yeah.
go like spurts of like 200 days of no smoking.
Yeah.
I heard that your lungs do regenerate after time, so I was just curious if he smoked all the way up till he died.
So yeah, he smoked to the day he died. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like he was on oxygen trying to light up a cigarette, and I'm like, no, you're gonna blow up the whole freaking house. But like nicotine gets a hold of you, and it's really difficult to get rid of it as you're dealing with it. But
totally.
I hope that you were able to completely quit smoking, because once you completely get that out, your body does have the ability to regenerate its your lungs to within a certain point, but you do get to a point of no return at some point, and I don't know what that is, but definitely you want to quit, get rid of that stuff, because there's no positives to put that stuff in your body.
And I totally tell myself, like I always tell Steven, it's like you got to put it your identity. Some people are like, oh, I'm just a smoker, and that's their identity, so they continue to do it. And I'm like, I'm not a smoker. And I was like, I was even thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, I'm never gonna smoke again. So like because it's just I might eat some bad food here and there again because I'm trying to eat good. Like I might eat some sugar, but I'm definitely not gonna smoke. It's been like 170 days, but
yeah, it's possible, man. I dipped for a long time. I feel like that's what every redneck kid from Alabama did.
That's an Alabama thing.
And, yeah, man. And I did it for like probably 4 or 5 years. And I quit cold turkey in Afghanistan. And I tried it a few times here and there after that. But I mean, dude, once you get to a certain point, like everybody dips in my industry for some reason, and I'll see a dip bottle. I'm like, dude, that's gross. Get that off my damn desk. I'm not. It's just gross to me now.
What made you quit?
I accidentally swallowed. I had like a horseshoe, so I had dip from like here to here. And some stuff happened. But yeah, I accidentally swallowed the whole thing and then ended up throwing up a couple hours later.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah. And so that was the last time I had my ex-girlfriend at the time was like sending me logs of dip, and I got home after that and messaged her and was like, don't ever send me dip again. I don't ever want this stuff. And I gave it all away that night and quit cold turkey. And then, like I said, I tried it a couple times here and there after that. But I think the last time I tried it, I was on a business trip and we were drinking, of course. And one of my buddies was dipping. I was like, you know what? I missed that. He's like, we'll get you a pinch. And so I got it, and something hit it in the wrong spot. And I ended up like throwing up all over the side of his truck. And so I was like, yep, never again. Not doing that.
That dip
like I just had to see.
Yeah. I just wanted to try it one more time, but I got it out of my system. I'm good now.
Yeah, that's all bad.
I've had similar experiences with like vodka in my younger days. I had too much vodka and I threw up, and then after that, I just could not do vodka anymore.
Yeah, I'm the way with Jack Daniels.
I was Jack Daniels.
I was a whiskey guy.
Me and Steven, we drank Jack Daniels all the time. Jack Daniels, and then smoking cigarettes when we did. Like I didn't ever smoke cigarettes when I didn't drink, but when I would drink, I would smoke like a whole pack.
Dude, same thing. Like I did the same thing when I was dipping. I would never smoke, and then I would drink. Like, yeah, I'll take a cigarette. And it's like I'd wake up the next morning feeling like crap. Just like,
and wheezing and stuff like that's like it's just so bad. Dude, like
it's not worth it.
Nope. Like now at construction and stuff, people be smoking. I'll be getting pissed off at them. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck away from me! Like, I go piss on you. And that's better than what you're doing to me.
Yeah.
I was like, then I think about what I used to do to people. I'm like, damn, I used to smoke and get into people's lungs and not care. Like, just kind of crazy.
Well, it's kind of cool too, because didn't they passed that law to where now you're not legally allowed to smoke in a car with a child? So that was really good. Like, very rarely does the government do things that make sense, but that was actually one that made sense. I was like,
it just makes me think of that meme. There's a meme where it's like, man, this not smoking in the car is really bad for my kid, because and it's like he's outside the car when it's all snowy, he's inside smoking.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh god,
such a stupid meme.
It was funny too. When I was younger, my dad would always tell me, because he used to smoke probably, I don't know, pack a day, but he would always tell me how smoking is bad and not to ever do it. And when I was younger, I'm like, okay. But then you get older and you're like, oh, my dad does that. I'm gonna fucking try it. And then now I'm doing the thing he told me not to do. He tried to give me a warning, and here I am just smoking like a chimney.
Yeah, but that's the thing that goes back. Like you need to lead by example, not that whole do
Ah,
as I say, not as I do. Like don't do that. So like if
Doesn't
you
work.
want your kids to do something in their future, then you need to do it right now in front of them.
Yep,
that makes
100%.
sense.
Yeah.
My parents used to smoke weed, and I'm like thinking like I'll never do that. I would always say I never do it because my parents told me not to do it. But then, like I'm thinking in my head when I turn teenager, well they do it and they're old and they got their house and they're still fine. Like no, I'm gonna do it too. And then there you go.
Yep.
Now I'm addicted to smoking weed.
Yeah. 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 It's a slippery slope. Luckily for me, like I don't have to worry about that because I'm subject to like random hair follicle test at work. So it's just not even on the radar for me.
Yeah. Yeah, construction they don't do that, so they're
But
just like you can do whatever
I
you
feel
want.
like
Yeah.
even drinking is one of those ones that could get in the way too. Because I remember when I was doing the first time I was actually trying to lose weight, like I could not do it for the life of me. But I was eating like chicken, broccoli, rice Monday through Friday. But then the weekends would roll around, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
drink, and then at the end of
Yep.
the night of drinking, I go hit up some fast food joint. But drinking's one of those ones I didn't really realize how many calories it was adding to my weekly goal. I'm
Dude,
like, oh shit, like I'm getting
it's
thousands of
nuts.
calories just from these drinks. But as soon
Yep.
as I quit the drinking, like the weight just came right off.
Yeah, it just falls off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of my struggles because like I like beer. I really like the way beer tastes. I'm a huge IPA and a huge sour guy, but those are like really calorie dense. And so I don't drink to get drunk anymore. I don't want my kids seeing me drunk or anything like that. But
Mm.
I just love the way beer tastes. So I'll go buy a beer and like maybe for dinner I'll drink a beer with dinner or something like that. But like definitely like drinking in excess is terrible. But there's this is probably isn't good health advice, but you'll see a lot of power lifters and strongmen before you go do a heavy lift, we'll take like a shot of bourbon or something like that because I'm sorry, carbohydrates are what your body turns into energy. And the fast of absorbing carbohydrate that you can put in your body is alcohol. Your body turns it into energy like almost instantly. So you can take a shot 2 or 3 minutes before a lift and you get a little burst of energy. And so,
Wow.
but then you take it too far and then you've got like 3 attempts and then you've taken like 3 to 6 shots. And all of a sudden your last attempt, you're like kind of drunk. You're like, oh shit. All right. I went too far. This isn't good.
Too much.
Oh
I
man.
think I've seen Arnold do that. Take a shot
Yeah.
before lifting.
Yeah, man. It's just quick carbohydrates. It's just pure energy. So, but you have to do that within reason. Don't do
Yeah.
it excessively. So, like, I was at a commercial gym one time and I brought like a little shooter with me in my gym bag. And I was working out with the gym owner and I was getting ready to do a heavy deadlift. And like, I like snuck over there and took it back. He's like, I know you did not just take a shot of damn whiskey in my gym. I'm like, dude, it's a heavy deadlift. And then he was like, you better have another one in there. I was like, I do. So I gave it to him and I got out of it. But like, yeah, I did that. He was like, you've got to be kidding me, Charter. I've never seen anybody do this in my gym. I'm like, well, we just hide it.
Exactly. All right. All right. Well, we'll just wrap it up there. Been about an hour and 20 minutes or something like that.
All right.
Well, yeah. So we had a great time talking to you. I know I did.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate y'all inviting me on. This was fun.
Yeah, because you're blue
Yeah, we
collar
appreciate
investments.
having you.
Yes, blue collar investments on Twitter and Instagram. But usually your main thing is talking about finance, about blue collar workers and stuff like that. So I'm glad we got a
Yeah.
deep dive into your health journey and like what you do with that as
I
well.
think, I mean, I'm kind of, I don't know if it's going to necessarily be a rebrand, but like the financial investments are definitely a huge part of it. But I think I'm like going more towards like total investments, like investing in your body, investing in your relationships, and investing in finances. I think that's going to be kind of where my page ends up taking me because, you know, I can post a thing about stocks and it gets like 400 impressions. But if I post something about like the gym or post something about like hanging out with my wife or something like that, that's what really drives my traffic. So I think that's going to be the direction my page actually goes into. It's just going to be all around investing in everything for like just a happier life.
And I think people really enjoy like your powerlifting or strongman thing. Like you said that one day, you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm getting so many followers. Are they because that video you posted? You lifting, like everyone loved that one. And that began the snowball effect.
Dude, it's like, and I give it. Do you follow Tom the Frugal Gay at all?
I think so.
Yeah. So anytime I post something lifting, I can guarantee that he's going to come on there and flirt with me. And he generates so much traffic. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't even care. Like it doesn't bother me or whatever. But
yes.
I know I know if I need impressions, I can post a slightly risque picture, and Tom is coming to the rescue every time.
Yeah. So that one with you in the little shorts, where you're all swole right there.
Oh yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, I really like your quads." I'm like, "I bet you do." Like,
They're for my
but
wife,
he's
man.
dude, he is awesome. Like
Nice,
I
cool guy.
actually got on with him because I was in it. I was gonna get into rentals, and I actually talked with him. He actually talked me out of it because the rental that I had was just too much, too expensive. So like, he is just a phenomenal human being. I love Tom.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we're like that's just where we follow you at Twitter or X and
Yeah,
TikTok.
Twitter, TikTok, and then I've got more of my lifting stuff is on Instagram, and that's just, I think that one's, hold
I
on.
need to follow
I'm
you
gonna
there.
start. I'm gonna start posting more stuff. I got out of posting on it because I hadn't hit like any PRs or anything, so I haven't posted in a while. But it's charter_89.
Charter_89. Charter
Yep,
underscore 89. Right? Okay.
and that's gonna be more of my lifting videos. You'll see more of my family. Yep, yeah. You'll see more of my family and stuff on there, but that's predominantly gonna be like my lifting. That's a little bit more personal side of me, I guess.
And then we'll put your links in the description too on YouTube and Spotify here. So people
Awesome. I'm glad y'all are on Spotify. That makes it a lot easier for me to listen to y'all. I didn't realize y'all were on Spotify. That's awesome.
yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. So anyhow, well, thank you for showing up. And this is episode 22 of Health Over Everything podcast. Hope you guys listening got some valuable information or insight into the strongman lifestyle. And
Yeah.
we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Have a good weekend.